I want to say welcome, welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. We have an incredible show tonight. I can't say enough about it. I absolutely love the history when it comes to how did music start, the era, the people, and everything. And we're going to be talking rock and roll today. I am so excited for our next guest. I have a big introduction for him. I'm Christine Campbell, your host here at 9 at Night. We are here every weekday night, each a topic every different night from Monday through Friday. The best way to get a hold of us and get into any of our shows at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is just go to 9, that's the number 9atnight.com. So we're going to get this big introduction for our guest, and we're excited. Stay tuned. All right, now this guest, our first guest, is very, very special. I've known him in my years in Nashville. He was a good friend of my children's father, and we're so excited. His name is Joey Welz. Now, Joey has quite a bit of background with him. Not only was he one of the Bill Haley's and the Comets original band, he's the boogie woogie king of rock and roll. He began his career as a singing piano man in the middle of the 50s with Rock Around the Clock as featured pianist with Bill Haley and the Comets. He's one of the founding fathers of rock and roll and one of the world's first singing pianists. He began recording in 1955 before Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis, making his first rock and roll records in his hometown. And I'll tell you, there is so much more there, and we have wonderful pictures and slides, and we're going to hear from him. But also, it was that year that he began working with Bill Haley and the Comets. And first he was a band boy, and then the big break happened and he became the opening act for the Comets. And influenced by rhythm and blues of Fats Domino, Joey was one of the first pianists to combine boogie woogie piano with rock and roll, and created in part the basic piano licks heard in many of the early rock and roll. And what's interesting enough, this guy just doesn't stop. He is still recording, still doing great things. But with Bill Haley singing country swing, the Comets added a backbeat and saxophone to the mix, accented by big band licks and a boogie woogie rhythm. And this rock and roll was born. And it was named by Alan Freed from the lyrics of one of Haley's first songs, The Rock a Beat and Boogie. So let's now meet the boogie woogie king of rock and roll. So Joey, I have you on the phone here. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock with Christina tonight.
There you go. There you go. What I'm showing, I have slides. I'm going to show you what they are. I have your fabulous picture, but I have one of when you just started, and it has you at the piano sitting down, and you have a sweater, but it says Joey Welz, legendary rock and roll recording with Joey Welz. How did you get into the business, period?
Well, honey, let me say this. When I was 5 years old, I always tried to play the piano and listen to my mother because she was a concert pianist. So when I became 13 years old, I went to see a group that wasn't Bill Haley's Comets. They were before the Comets, as you know. They were a group that did country music.
Mm-hmm.
And I started in 1953 to work for Bill Haley, helping to get all the instruments in the car and to go to different places and help him carry them. So I didn't actually become the pianist with Bill Haley's Comets until the early 60s.
Okay.
But I wanted to explain this to you as well because I heard you a little bit before. I started making my first records in 1955, and of course it was Rock Around the Clock, the song that gave me all the inspiration. But I did a lot of rock and roll music instrumentally because I was a pianist, and it was because my mother gave me that much attention to become a pianist. So by the time I was 13 or 14 and started working for Bill, before I worked for him as a pianist, I helped him carry his instruments. And then in 1955, I formed my first rock and roll band in Baltimore, Maryland. And they were the J Rockers, and Rock Around the Clock was what went into my mind, and I made an instrumental single.
Oh,
I
excellent.
can't remember what it was called, but it was an instrumental.
I have a photo right now of you with your band, the J Rockers, and you're at the piano. And I found this on there, and not only that, I found you singing on the song a little bit. So I'm going to play a little bit of that, okay? And it's
okay,
one
well,
of the
that was
hits.
probably rock something else, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Okay. So anyway, I just slipped in. I'm going to play a little bit more of that.
It's the only one. You're the one. You make me feel so fine.
Okay, I can't play too much. I'll have to pay royalties. But do you remember? You remember that song, of course, I'm sure.
Well, sort of, but even one that was a little bit more popular, that was Poppin' the Stroll.
Okay, I think I have that. Right now, yeah, I have a couple of your record albums. You have You at the Piano is Joey Welz, and the Rock and Roll and the Piano Man, and some old album covers. And this one covers 1960 to 62, but it's so interesting. Now I have your Boppin' the Stroll with Joey Welz. I have that record up, and it's on Bat Records. And
right.
Yeah.
And I own the label Bat.
Oh, you do? Okay, excellent. And then next to it was the Bill Haley with Rock Around the Clock with Decca. So I have the two records showing, but I'm going to play your Boppin' the Stroll right now.
Okay, thank you.
Come on, baby, let's a bop of the stroll. Come on, baby, satisfy my soul. Come on, baby, got the record hop blues. Come on, baby, buy new pair of shoes. Well, come on, baby, let's a rock a little bit tonight. Yeah. Come on, baby, in your dress in the sack. Come on, baby, with the yakety yak. Come on, baby, and jump with Peter Gunn. Come on, baby, they ain't nothing but fun. Well, come on, baby, let's rock a little bit tonight. Yeah, wake up little.
That's great. That is absolutely great. Again, I gotta cut it just because of I can't pay royalties. So, you know how that is. You know how that goes. Oh, totally. So now I have a picture. So we're kind of going up through your time, but I have another album cover. It's called The Whistling Piano Man, The Mystery of Love. So I found that picture, but next to it was a newspaper article with your picture with Bill Haley, and it's titled Joey Welz, Bill Haley, and guitarist John Kay. And it says, yeah. And it said that you mentioned that Haley was the father of rock, and he's been a musical father to you.
Oh, sure he was. Yeah, I mean, when I was 13 again, and I went to see them as a group that was actually country in Baltimore. That's when I met them, and that's when I became friends. And they're things that they first made with Decca. I wasn't on the records, but they were the things that made me realize that I was going to be a rock and roll Bill Haley's type of musician for the rest of my life. So it was because of Bill and the early records that he did and the guys that I met in the Comets that made me become one of, you see, I was younger than them, 10 and 12, 15 years younger. So
wow.
I really, when I started in the Army, I came to Germany, and I started 1960 with Bill because I was in the Army working for the Armed Forces Radio Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a chance to produce, I guess it was 30 minutes of a song with Bill and the guys. And that was the first time that I actually recorded and played piano with him. And and then he said, well, when you get out of the Army, you can join us. And that's what I did.
That is excellent. I have a picture of all of you. It's Bill Haley's New Comets, and that's when you came in.
Yeah, well, the other guy that played guitar left him, left Bill. So I was there when he left. After I got out of the Army, some of our big shows in '65 were in the Canadian shows.
Excellent, excellent. Now I found some posters of the older, much later years, but it has Bill Haley's Comets, Al Rappa, and you were featured original band members.
Al Rappa was the guy that replaced the original guitarist too, and Al Rappa and I in the '80s he called me and asked me to come with him, and we went to Bill Haley's Comet because Bill Haley died, as you know, in 1966, I think it was. No, 1991. No, excuse me. Now I know I got it. 1976.
Oh, excellent. That's
so I went back with the guitarist who was very well known with the Comets, and we went out again. And since I was a singer, I was the one to be able to do a lot of the early Bill Haley records and sing them too,
Oh, excellent. Well, it said that the Comets, they sold over 200 million records and are in the Guinness Book of World Records. And the band appeared in 7 movies, including Rock Around the Clock. And I want you to know, just in your honor, we watched that movie. It was filmed in 1956 with the original band people, the Rock Around the Clock today. We did it today, right before the show.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we could. But that is exciting. Joey, you have continued on with your music. I have now your car picture. The back of your car says the Boogie Woogie King of Rock with you leaning on it.
Well, the Boogie Woogie King of Rock and Roll was so interested in what Bill Haley made to me in my mind that I recorded 6 different versions of Rock Around the Clock. Each year I did a new version of it, and I co-wrote it with the guy that wrote the original, James Myers. And he asked me to co-write it, make it better for the younger kids. So I even did one copy in the 2000, maybe it was 1990, and I did the rap version on it.
Oh, excellent!
to make it available for young people today.
Excellent. Well, that's what you do. Now I see a picture of you walking down a hallway, and you have like rooms of Joey Welz and posters and records.
Oh yeah. At my home, I have 5 different rooms with posters from my career all the way back to 1953.
That's okay. These are excellent, and it's inspiring. Anybody can do it. Now you're a universal musician because it has you playing a guitar with a keyboard. I have that picture up.
Well, that's what I do. I mean, where else are you going to play guitar?
Yeah, there you go, with a keyboard. I love it. That was a chord keyboard. And now I have another one with you in the band much later, and you're right in front center. So I'm just showing some of these pictures. Now here is a video. I'm going to play it. It's when you all came together and somebody's introducing you on stage and you start off. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this because it introduces, he's an excellent introducer. And so here we go.
Okay.
The original rock and roll band. We've had the Rolling Stones and all that, the Beach Boys and Four Seasons. But we're going to go with Bill Haley's Comets. And they're the longest touring rock and roll band in the world. And the rest, you already know all about them. And Rock Around the Clock is one of the top 10 greatest songs of all time. And we have 2 of the members that are original members here tonight. Al Rappa and we have Joey Welz. Al Rappa and Joey Welz, they're in Rock and Roll's Hall of Fame, and that's not an easy thing to do. We're going to present to you one of the greatest bands of the history of rock and roll, Bill Haley's Original Comets. Let's give them a great round of applause. Righto. It only took us 55 years to get here, but we're finally in Nichols. How are you doing tonight? What a great audience. Y'all wound up. Everybody's a teenager tonight. You have our blessing. Back to Bobby's Foxhorn. We'd like to take you back to our first record that was preceding Rock Around the Clock. I hope you'll remember it. It's called Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Well, get out of that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Get out of that kitchen, baby, rattle those pots and pans.
Hey, I'm gonna have to stop as I don't pay for royalties. So darn, that was fun. I just enjoyed that
The original.
really. And now I have
That's what made me the Comet MC at that particular point.
you definitely have stage presence. Now, this picture that I have up here, nobody would ever know that about you, that you are a world champion yo-yo expert. I have that picture with you and that yo-yo doing some kind of trick, and I don't know what you call it, but you got string in every finger you have, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, did you just do that as a hobby or something, or on the long bus rides?
I did it as a well, not only a hobby. I mean, I just love playing the yo-yos, you know, and seeing some of the arrangers that I met that made me decide I'm going to become the best. And at one time in Baltimore, we had a contest, and I did become the best. It was with what was it? Duncan, excuse me, Duncan Records. Yeah, that was who I worked for.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that. So next, I have an interview. I just love this. It's about 4 minutes. I'm going to play it, and we'll just deal with the after effects, okay? If there's any royalties, but it's with you, and it's you talking about Bill. It's on NAM. It's your history about Bill. So I love it. So here we go. Oh wait, where did it go? Oh, I know, it's right here. Just a minute. I knew I could find it. Let's see. It's on one of my.
I knew I could find you too.
We're going to talk about that too. We're definitely going to talk about that. So I have this and this. I had to convert you back to YouTube. Okay, so here we go.
He was shy all the time. He had a problem with one of his eyes. It wasn't focused properly, and he always tried to wear glasses. And he was self-conscious. And when we did shows and all, people would want to see him or talk to him or meet him. He always hung out in the dressing room, and they would set a paperback or buy a picture. And Bill would even have Rudy sign it. Says, sign it for me. He didn't really support the adulation of the fans. I don't know why. Probably because of his self-consciousness. But that's one of the things that I always recognized, that he was reclusive. Even with the band, when we were on the road I was with Bill, he'd have his own room away from the Comets. And, you know, we had to, like, of course, I was, at that time, the first time in 1965, 66, in that era, I was still a kid, according to the Comets. They were in their middle and late 30s. I was in my mid-20s, you know, 1965. I was born in 1940. So 1965, what was I, 25? So I was very timid around Bill, and I didn't bother him much. Bill was the reason that I went in the music business. When I heard the Comets and their rhythm and all, it struck something in my heart and my soul, and I said, I want to make that kind of music. And I want to make it with the Comets, you know, that was my dream. So when I finally got there, I was very, you know, cautious and not to bug him, you know. And eventually he liked me. He invited me to the room. He would talk to me and spiritually asked me some advice. And he said, do you think, you know, I'm going to go to hell because of I made rock and roll music? And I said, no, Bill. God loves good music. Your music is clean. Your music is for fun. Your music is to make people feel good and dance. And even God would tap his finger or tap his toe to your rhythm. It's nothing wrong with that. It's not vulgar. And so he did, you know, he asked me once in a while for my opinions. And I love.
We're gonna stop right there. That was beautiful. That was just beautiful what you gave tribute to him and giving a little insight that we will never see. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, my pleasure. If it weren't for Bill, I wouldn't be rocking and rolling.
Isn't that something? I absolutely love the fact that you definitely you had you were so excited. His music got you onto the music, and you toured on your own first. You had your bands first, but then you actually got to work with your dream. How was that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best part of my life. And well, of course, my life has had many different changes in the years. And right now, the change is not a change because I've always been that way. But I love the old rock and roll. And of course, when I do play and people book me, they do it because I do the original old rock and roll, and I was a part of it, the old rock and roll. So that's the reason also why I had a friend with a couple of the with a couple of the real big people that were in my career as friends. But Pat Stamino was one of them. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Yeah.
And of course, you shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. He and I became really good friends, and we're still friends. He's still alive.
That is excellent. You sound great. You still got it. You still got it, Joey. Hey, I want to talk about, I wouldn't have ever met you if it wasn't for my children's father. He's passed away in 2009, but that's Mike Kelly. And
oh wow, yeah, I knew Mike.
Yeah, so how did you two meet?
Probably in Baltimore, wasn't it?
Well, he was a promotion man for Roulette Records, King Records, and King Records moved him down to Nashville. Hal Neely did.
Okay. Well, I'm in the music business. I want to just say this too quickly because it's very important. I was first signed by a major label called Canadian American Records, and they had a #1 song by Santo and Johnny called Sleepwalk. And then in 1964, they signed me, and I put out some records for a couple years. And then they decided they were going to stop Canadian American Records, and they made me president. So I ran Canadian American Records. And then in the early 90s, when the gentleman that owned Canadian American that started the label died, before he died, he made me the owner of Canadian American. Wow. So all the songs that I've done through the years are on Canadian American. Some are on Caprice International, and of course, the original Caprice guy was a guy that made me do a lot of Sam Granahan. Jerry, Granahan owned Caprice. And so I used Caprice, and it was Caprice International. So I became president of that, president of Canadian American Records, and still putting out new records with Canadian American Records today.
You know, and you're just absolutely amazing, Joey, Joey, and I sure appreciate that. Let's talk about being inducted in not just one Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but more than one. Let's talk about that.
Okay, say that again, because all of a sudden I couldn't hear you.
That's okay. Let's talk about you becoming a member of not more than one Rock and Roll Hall of Fames.
Well, Hall of Fame is, of course, the original one. When they first put Bill Haley's Comets in at first, it was just Bill Haley. The Comets weren't in there. And then later on, they added the Comets to be in the Hall of Fame. And the Comets, some of them were dead and some of them didn't come. I was the only one out there on the show. So I performed and I didn't have anybody to sing with. So I asked for some help. And Bruce Springsteen said, "Sure, Joey, we'll help you." I said, "Bruce, you'll love it. Your music is so great." And he said, "Shut up, Joey." He says, "You're the guy that started rock and roll. I listened to you when I was a kid." So and then I asked my friend Jerry Granahan, the guitar player. Remember the other guitar player that made the music? I'm trying to think of his name.
That's Scott Growing.
The original guitar player back in the 50s. No. Anyway, they joined me. What I'm trying to say is it was because of them that they joined me. So I did my shows at the end of the show, and we were on TV. They were putting up all the directions, and showing it. And I was singing with the Comets and the two guys.
That is excellent. Well, I sure do appreciate everything that you have told us tonight, everything you've done for the
It was
benefit.
Fats Domino. That's what I was trying to think
Fats
of.
Domino. Those are big names, Joey. You don't take that lightly. And
I know, but we all love each other,
yeah, that is a well. And Mike Kelly was a promotion man, and I'm sure he's promoted your records and Bill Haley's, and along with all the
Oh
others.
yeah, I remember Mike so much. He was a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'll tell you, his kids are all grown up, and the youngest is 32, living in New York.
Well, tell him I said hello, and when you get a chance, you have my email address. Send me some stuff that you did tonight so I could have a copy of it and give it to other people to listen to.
Oh, you bet. I sure will. Well, we're sure glad that you joined us. Thank you so much, Joey.
Thank you very much, and see you later, alligator, after a while, crocodile.
There you go. Thanks. Bye-bye. Awesome. This is an incredible interview. I'll tell you why. It's just amazing all that Joey has done all around the world with rock and roll, starting out with the original. If you really enjoy the history and how it started and stuff, this movie that we saw today called Rock Around the Clock, it's a 1956 movie. It has all the original people in there. They're really in there. There are no stand-ins, okay? And it's an incredible story. And it's just phenomenal. Just kind of gets you in the groove for rock and roll, and I love it. And I'll tell you next, we're going to play a little commercial, and then we'll be right back with our next guest, and we're going to just keep building this, okay? The momentum on this. We're going to have we have a nonprofit for children here, and I really encourage all of you to really pay attention. It's a dear friend of ours, and here we go.
Having a child in the hospital is incredibly hard for parents and really difficult for the child too. But seeing a child smile because we were able to add a little bit of happiness and fun to their healthcare journey is an amazing feeling. In fact, it's our passion. Working in the US and overseas, I was sad to see that healthcare-related pain and suffering is universal. So in 2010, Standish Foundation for Children began work to transform the healthcare experience for children. Today, we work to create new ways to help children and their families make the best of a tough situation.
Our caring and dedicated team is volunteer-led and made up of patients and parents, as well as professionals who are clinicians, educators, and advocates. Our team members have devoted their lives to helping children and are experts in addressing the psychosocial needs of patients and their families. Together with healthcare providers and donors, we work to make the healing process more hopeful and happy.
Our team collaborates with children's hospitals, clinics, and nonprofit organizations in the U.S. and around the world. We also support hospitalized children of U.S. military personnel. We guide in the education of staff and parents, teach child advocacy, offer psychosocial support, and give financial assistance to make the child's healthcare experience as positive as possible.
As healthcare technology continues to evolve, it's important to remember to embrace our common humanity. Fear is present for well checks, emergency room visits, as well as complex care involving surgery, chemotherapy, or organ transplantation. These procedures are scary, and we believe that no child should have to be afraid to go to the hospital or to the doctor's office. We know the research and strategies to minimize pain and suffering, and we know healthcare and healing can be positive. In fact, when children experience healthcare in a positive way, it contributes to their physical and emotional well-being, helping them reach their full potential.
We are honored to have donated over $200,000 in hundreds of volunteer hours to support 40 hospitals and clinics in the U.S. and overseas. Annually, our programs impact over 500,000 children. We need your help.
We need your help.
Now we need your help.
We need your help.
We need your help.
to further transform children's healthcare experiences and to ensure each child and family has access to a positive, hopeful, healing experience.
Okay, now I'm excited to introduce our next guest. This guy is absolutely talented. He plays 12 different instruments. And not only that, he is absolutely incredible. He has a recording studio, and we're going to talk about that today. So with that, I can't wait to introduce you I call him Rick, and to Rick Trulson. Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Well, hey, Christine, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely excellent. It was phenomenal to have Joey on. I'm sure you heard that interview too.
Oh, I loved it. I'm a big fan of Bill Haley and the Comets and Joey. And every band I ever was in played Rock Around the Clock at one time or another.
Now, what we've done in the past, we've featured some of your songs and some of your productions, but we're going to talk about Star Studio, Production Studio. And so tell me, when someone just has a song and they just feel they have the beat and they don't know how to play anything, but they've written the lyrics, they can sing pretty good, or they, just to make that effort, what can they do when they come to you? How can you put it to beautiful music on a CD?
What I do, and that's where you've heard the term, I know you have, but and what most of your audience has, is to be a producer. Then you do whatever. It's all about the singing. So I'll get the person's, get an idea of what their melody is, and say they play a guitar, I'll have them play it for me. And then I'll build a song. If they don't play all the instruments, I'll build a song and arrange it, come up with a good arrangement, for their song. And when it's all done, they sing it. And then I sweeten it. And sweeten means if it needs a saxophone or a Hammond organ or just hot guitar licks, depending on the genre, steel, whatever it needs, then we fix it. Then we add harmony to it, and they've got a song. It's their song.
That is excellent. And you play all the instruments, and that way you can save anybody money. It's just studio time, and you handle it all.
That's right.
That's
and we've had some good music. There's some awesome musicians. It seems like they're all over the place, but this is a real rich area for talented musicians and individuals. If all they do is sing, I bring them in, and they can make an album or one or two songs or whatever they want.
Well, I think it's just amazing what you have here. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and have you talk about, we're going to have one of your artists on. And so I'm so excited about that. So we're going to, we pre-recorded his interview. I guess everyone's busy tonight because we have voice or pre-recorded, but his name's Kenny Nelson. So why don't you tell your version? He tells his version of how he met you, but you say the version of how he met you and you met him.
Well, we're always networking musicians and repair guys, and somebody sent Kenny to me. And we met and we talked, and I took him in my studio and showed him what we could do. And then Kenny and I jammed. And Kenny is an awesome guy. In fact, every band member in there, they're just great people, but they're good musicians. And Kenny is an exceptional songwriter for the genre he plays. And I just fell in love with his music. And apparently he thought enough of me to want to do that project here, and we did it. And well, I got to tell you, there's a lot that goes into it, but I wanted to capture the live sound of their band. So I went out and heard them, and then I like to have product knowledge, if you will. And I had an idea what I could get out of them, here, or the best way to record them. And my idea was to go back in time and record them like the Rolling Stones used to be recorded, or Aerosmith still are. They basically play live, the trick to it in a studio now is getting isolation on your mics. In other words, I don't want a bass bleeding over into the drum mics, or I don't want one guitar bleeding into the other guitar, like that, and the voice and all that. So I isolated each instrument as good as it could be done, so we didn't have any bleed over, because when it comes time to mixing, it gets you a cleaner mix.
Mhm.
So anyway, we recorded their songs. And then when you get done with that, when you get all the parts and the harmonies, and basically we recorded them live. What you hear is what they sound like when you go out and hear them.
Yeah, it's excellent. I'm going to go ahead and do this recording that we did with him, but I'll tell you, I'm not going to say anything more about him. It is so surprising. He has his hobby of music, but he has a day job. You won't even believe what it is. It's just like two different worlds, but he balances it all and has a wonderful family, and it's really exciting. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get started. And thank you so much, Rick.
You bet. Thank you.
And it's just wonderful to talk with Rick every week. We love him coming on. He has excellent members that he's produced, recorded. In fact, our next guest is going to be an incredible band that he's been working with in his studio, and we can't wait to meet him. His name is Kenny Nelson, and his sound is called dirty rock and roll. And I personally have never heard of the genre before, but we're going to sure learn about it together. But he has a not only a 4-piece band, he has the sound engineer, he has everything to be set up in concert style. So I'm so excited to meet him. So go ahead and we'll welcome Kenny Nelson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Your story, we've kind of talked a little bit about it, but you have an incredible story. We'll talk about dirty rock and roll, but can you tell us all about how you started with your songwriting and you ended up singing and having this band?
Well, I started playing guitar a long time ago, 30-something years ago. I was a senior in high school. And then that just led me to playing in bands, which I really enjoyed. And then I ended up coming up with my own songs. And after a few of those, I thought, well, maybe this is something that I can develop and do. And then it turned out I didn't have anyone to sing the songs. Went through a few different vocalists, trying to work with them, and nothing really panned out. So I just decided to take matters into my own hand and learn how to sing. I found a vocal coach and took lessons for a year with her, and been singing ever since.
I love your story because it just absolutely shows it doesn't matter if you have an idea and a dream in mind, you can do anything if you're willing to do the work, and you did it. Now your band is called Scratch. Now, how'd you come up with that? How'd you come up with that name?
Oh, wow. Well, early on, we decided and realized that we need a name. So we just started throwing out ideas, and Scratch was one of my ideas that I proposed, and I really wasn't in love with it, but everybody else seemed to like it. And that's what stuck. It came from a Mark Twain novel. I don't remember which one. I think it was The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, but Scratch was some character that's mentioned in the book briefly. Actually, they refer to him as Old Scratch, and they thought that he was the devil, and that's what they called him. And I just thought that was kind of fun and interesting.
I love the name. I mean, it's very unique and I love it. And I can't wait. We're going to play some of your music. Before that, I'm going to kind of turn the tide here a little bit. You have an incredible band. You've been doing this for years, you learned to sing, and now you're writing for 40, 50 songs. But your real job is a nuclear operator. I mean,
correct.
So a diverse life, which is fun, but let's talk about that a little bit. Why nuclear reactor operator?
Well, it's tough to pay the bills with music. So about 15 years ago or so, I decided that I need to get a real job because, I'm also a family man. Got to pay the bills.
I love it. And it's a very nice place where you're at. And I sure appreciate it. So now let's talk about the dirty rock and roll. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Well, everyone always asks, what kind of music do you play? And they always want to stick you in some kind of genre.
Mhm.
And, I wanted to have something unique that I could say, but really dirty rock and roll was just an attempt to try and explain the sound
Mhm.
of my band Scratch.
All this uniqueness. I love it. I mean, this is really cool. So now we're going to play one of your songs. Let's talk
Oh,
about the
great.
song and how that was the main, how that was created.
Well, that started with my wife, Jana. She came up with the lined lyric, if looks could kill, I'd be dead tonight. And then we stopped and thought, oh, that sounds like a song. There's a song in there.
So are
So-
you the lead singer on it
Yes.
okay, and the guitarist? Okay. Were you gonna,
And so we and so I tried to turn that into a song, and the song starts with the drums, but then the bass line that comes in, he's slapping the bass, and I've always liked that sound, and I had that already just from sitting around on the sofa with an acoustic guitar trying to figure out how bass players do that. And I had come up with that, and I'd always wanted to do something with it, and I just started with it, and it went, and I stuck with it, and we ended up with a song.
I can't wait to listen to it. Now, how did you meet Rick? That's where you did all your production at. So let's talk a little bit
Yes.
about Rick in the studio.
Well, I have a guy, Eric Daw, who takes care of all my guitars and repairs and setting them up, and he's actually a luthier and builds guitars. He has his own line of guitars. Up Guitars is the name of it, and he's really, really talented. And anyway, I was in his shop, and he was doing some work for me on a guitar, and I was talking to him about the fact that we were looking for some place to record and produce, and he told me, you've got to get a hold of Rick Trulson. Gave me his name and number, wrote it down, and so I gave Rick a call.
That's
Over and just within probably 10-15 seconds of meeting him, he pulls a guitar off the wall and handed it to me and said, here, play something for me. So the spot I wasn't necessarily prepared for, but I ended up, I played a song for him, and he's like, all right, play another one. So after a couple songs, he said, okay, come with me and I'll show you the studio. So he made me audition a little bit, it felt like.
he checked you out.
Yeah.
That's really good. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so let's do this. I got this song up here, so let's go ahead and now, before we do, let's get the names of your band. You got you right here, and
Yeah.
and then on the left.
That is my right-hand man, Danny Tucson.
Okay, excellent. And you
He's
play
a great guitar player.
excellent. And over here,
Over here, the drummer.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Dave Shelley.
Okay, and right down here.
Right here, and here down there's the bass player, Travis Conkergood.
Excellent. And then you have your sound tech. Who else do you have?
Yeah, our sound engineer is Joel Johnson.
Mhm.
His company is Sound Source Audio, and he provides sounds for lots of events in the area.
Mhm.
But we were lucky to get him to work with us. It really helps us out when we play live.
Oh yeah, you sound like you're on stage with thousands of people.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, so here is your song we're going to listen to. If Looks Could Kill, and I'm
All
excited
right.
with the band Scratch. And I can only play like a little over a minute because I'm not paying the royalties.
Okay.
Fees. Okay, so just so you know, we're giving you a tease, and we'll let everyone know how you can find this.
All right.
going to do, for some reason, the music didn't come over. So I'm going to look that up real quick so that we can definitely listen to his song. So that I have no idea why they didn't come through. So I am definitely going to look it up right now as we go. I'll tell you, there is so much when it comes to people making a positive difference. So we're going to have If Looks Could Kill.
And Christine, I can tell you for sure it's recorded.
Yeah, it's recorded. I couldn't hear the music.
No, I couldn't either.
Yeah, that's crazy with all the work that you did, Rick. So I like the way that you checked him out.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, they're just awesome people. And their
Yeah.
music is really good. I think everybody's gonna like it.
Yeah, so I wonder. Okay, I think this is it. I just want to make sure it's the right one. Yep. Okay, I got it. So let me bring this up. Wow, I'm so glad that we have a backup.
Yeah,
I would hate for that not to come on there. He spent a lot of time on that interview and we had that fun with it. So let me get the sound up on this and I'm going to bring it on. So let me get back to here. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Rick. This is kind of fun. This is your guy and your talent on here.
well, I'm taking a little credit. I'm glad to be a part of it, but I really think a lot of this band, and I think I've told you about that off air. They're really great.
Now, can you see this on the screen?
Let me look.
Yeah, you better look. You got to help me out. If anybody can. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is Dirty Rock and Roll sound.
Crossroads in the candlelight, I saw a smile as he sold me his life. Slow burn in the midnight sun, his muddy waters like a loaded gun.
Awesome. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. We're going to get back to our slides here. So, Rick, I'm going to finish his interview and then I'm going to get back to you. So let's just, let's see.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
having fun listening.
yeah, I want to get the recording where it has the rest. And, you know, it's just a minute. Wait a minute. For some reason, we got past this. So we got the video and let's see. Okay, this is his website. So we're going to get back to this. You just saw the video right here. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Make sure we get good job. I wish I could play the whole thing. So how can we find out where to get your song or get your album, your next gig?
The simplest place is just online at dirtyrockandroll.com.
So you actually got that name. I think did you make that up? I mean, nobody else is using dirty rock and roll, are they?
Not that I've ever come across. Nope.
No, rock and roll. I'm so proud of you. You're just like all the leader in a lot of things. So dirty rock and roll is rock. Is it just an N and then roll?
Yep.
Is it
Yep.
spelled
Dirty
out?
rock and roll.
So the letter N, right?
Yes, the letter N.
Okay, I'm just repeating so everybody watching can make sure they got it. Dirty
All
rock
right.
and roll. And let me go ahead and put that up real quick. I'm going to find that for us so that we can look at that so we can see the site and roll.com and have that show up. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let me bring it to us. And you know, it's so much fun when we just have good friends around the world, around the country, making a positive difference. So with that, I'm going to bring up this website that I just found called Scratch. Dirty rock and roll is what it is. This is definitely excellent marketing, by the way. Is there any particular places you want us to go look at?
Well,
Any buttons or shows about?
yeah, hit the shows button. You'll see, should see where we're playing.
Okay, well, this is just first class here. So we got, okay, you're basically in Southeast Idaho.
Yeah.
And you can do that and you got Montana. Very good. So this is Island Park. So this is a great place to come to and check out, come over here in Southeast Idaho during these summertime, and I'm sure you're going to find Scratch somewhere. Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else where we move on? Any other buttons?
Well, if you
here?
click on merch, you'll be able to find our new album, which is titled Cherry on Top.
Okay, excellent. Let me go down. Cherry on Top. There you go. Old 50s on there. That's exciting. You got t-shirts. You got a great logo.
Yeah, we got some t-shirts.
Yeah, very good. There you go. Yeah, this is excellent. I just love your story. It's reasonably priced. I'll tell you, this is something we just got to keep checking you out. And then how far do you travel if someone wants to book you? Like I open up for a major act or something like that.
Yeah, usually a few hundred miles or so.
Okay, so Northwest.
We've played, we've gone as far as Los Angeles.
Okay, well,
Play at the Whiskey Go-Go in West Hollywood, California. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, there you go. All right. So I am so excited to find that out. So what we're going to do is just say thanks. Is there anything else you'd like to tell those hopefuls that wish they could do a band and they just don't know? They don't know if they can sing or play a guitar?
Well, anybody can learn how to. If I can do it, anybody can. But one thing I discovered is it's certainly possible to have everything that you want. You know, I can have my band and a nice creative outlet, plus my full-time job and my great family, you know.
There
you can have if you want to make it happen.
I love it. Thank you so much. We sure appreciate you. I just can't say enough for Scratch. There we go.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Okay. You bet.
Okay, so thank you. Rick, why don't you come on for a quick minute?
I'm here.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is amazing. So this is one of the many bands that you have brought on and you've recorded. Now with his video, did you help him with that or did they do that on their own?
That's all on their own, and they have very creative minds when it comes to video or writing, anything to do with me. I want to say this, that people, the musicians understand this, but I want to say, once a band's recorded, then it takes hours to mix it, make sure the bass is the right volume, the drums, and the mix has got to stay alive, so you can either lose it or make it better in the mix. And we mix it, and Kenny spent, well, I spent 12 hours, 14 hours, and I think he was with me about 12 hours of it mixing his album.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that's straight through. That's, I'm talking a marathon mix.
Wow.
Once you do it, you do it.
That's why I couldn't get a hold of you. I'm
That's
busy. I go,
probably true.
man, he's booked solid. Now I know why. Good job. Well, Rick, thank you so much for being here and showcasing one of your great bands that you record.
Well, thanks
So-
for showcasing them.
You bet. And do you have a website that showcases your production and
You
creativity?
know, there's a lady back in Ohio that runs the web page. And I think if they go on Richard Alvin Trulson on Facebook or just type it in on a Google,
Mhm.
it'll take you to my webpage.
So it's Richard Alvin. I'm going to type it in. Alvin Trulson, TR.
Yeah, and they can get through Reverb Nation, or they can probably just pull up a link and it'll take them to it.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're at the end of the hour. So thank you again, Rick. So
Thank
what
you
we,
for having me.
you bet. So what we have absolutely an incredible hour, and we're going to be recording. It is recorded. It's going to do the replay on 9atnight.com every weeknight. It's all about different topics. Monday, it's all about the business. Tuesday, it's all about the drive. We're talking motorsports. I mean, you have to have rhythm and racing, right? So that's why the middle of the week is we get the racing first, then the rhythm on Wednesday night. It's all about the talent. And then Thursday, it's all about the money and it's all about the fun. We're talking traveling around the world fun. So just join us anytime, 9atnight.com, just like you did tonight. And it's so exciting. And I'm so glad to have all of you here tonight to witness these incredible people. What the bottom line is, Joey Welz had a dream. He was inspired by Bill Haley and the Comets. And what happened was that he actually ended up playing with them. I mean, how cool is that? And then you have incredible, Kenny Nelson. He couldn't find a singer for his song. So he takes a full year of voice lessons so that he could sing his own song. So I'll tell you, if your dream is better than, everything, then it's going to happen. That's just it. So moving on, I just can't say thanks. Here's a little commercial right before we close here. All right. Thank you so much for being here on the show. This is a little plug on my book, Newbie 101. It's for anybody, whether you're in network marketing or not. So the place to go is 9atnight. Thank you all. Appreciate it.